A Montreal-based publisher wants the hero of his comic book, Citizen Canada, to speak English, French, and Cree. But when Joseph John went to Google Translate, he found Cree wasn't an option. That's despite it being the most widely spoken Indigenous language in the country. So John started an online petition urging the tech giant to include Cree on its Translate app. So what would it mean to have Indigenous languages included in platforms like Google Translate? Joining me now is the man who started the petition to take it to Google, Joseph John. He's the publisher of Citizen Canada, a comic book about an Indigenous superhero, and he's in Montreal tonight. And he's joined by Simon Bird in La Ronge, Saskatchewan. He's the founder and teacher of Cree, Simon says, and he's an Indigenous language revitalization doctoral student. Thank you both for taking the time to be with us here on Canada Tonight. Joseph, I'll start with you because you're not Indigenous, you don't speak Cree, so why did you decide to take this on?
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on the show, Chinela. So if you look at the playground, right? I mean, playground of let's say Aboriginal people, you have the regular players, you have the government, you have the authorities, you have industrialists, you have activists, you have artists, you have social justice advocates, and all of them. And last but not the least, Aboriginal people themselves. They're all playing this game, hoping to win it. We want to win this game. But the thing is, they're not oblivious of the fact that there is a new player in the game. I mean, that's the immigrant. So you have 1 million immigrants coming into the country every 3 years, and that's obvious. I mean, you can just check it up online. So, but then a lot of these immigrants coming in, they don't know to play the game. So here's the danger: if somebody gets into the game who don't know to play the game, either they're going to change the game or they're going to make the game extinct. So this is the situation we are in. So basically, I'm saying the immigrants. Yes, I'm an immigrant, so that's not that I don't support immigrants. What I'm saying is they have to be oblivious of Canadian culture. So what happens is a lot of people just come to Canada and think, okay, I know hockey, I know a little bit of barbecue, and I know about beer, I know all about Canada. No, I think it's a lot more. So this is the reason I thought of I came up with this concept of actually coming up with Citizen Canada to represent the actual citizens of this country. And when I tried to block my work because I don't speak Cree like the way I speak French and English more so. I mean, I tried to block it, and I looked into Google to look for some way to block this language into my comic. Wow, I was surprised because it was not there. I was like, how could this happen? Like, I know I'm a big fan of Google, but this was like, I felt it was unacceptable. I think there is, that's the reason I kind of raised this petition because of this character, and like I told you, you have a new player on this game. So
you wanted your comic to help immigrants understand Canada and all of its different forms, including the Indigenous cultures and people. So you created this character. Yeah. Simon, I want to bring you in. This petition has 2,200 signatures. You speak Cree. You teach it. I understand that it is one of the most spoken Indigenous languages in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. What would it mean for you to have Cree added to Google Translate?
I think it'll be a dream come true for a lot of the families, a lot of our people, to actually have mainstream Canada acknowledge that our Indigenous languages are still here. We're not a forgotten people. And those that have gone through the residential school system, it's a way for them to come back home in a sense as well. A lot of our people have lost their languages through aggressive assimilation policies and colonization, displacement, and for them to have actually a language, an Indigenous language, and a lot of us have our own language at the tip of, a technology that does provide a sense of reaffirmation and confirmation that our people are still here, and they are definitely not going anywhere, and we want to definitely be part of the background, the forefront, the first impression of any of our newcomers that come to this land.
And it would make it much more accessible to be able to use Google Translate. I know even for me, my first language is Spanish. I sometimes struggle to speak with my family, and I use Google Translate to help me find that one word I just can't remember. Joseph, you said that part of the problem is that Indigenous languages, is that Cree isn't an official language of Canada. Do you think that that's something that Canada should look at?
Yeah. So if you look at the eligibility conditions on Google, right, they say it has to be a written language. Obviously, Cree is a written language. And then they say it has to have 1 million words. That's funny, because which language has 1 million words? And I thought English has, but when I looked at it, English doesn't have. You think Mandarin has? No. So if I think English can be on Google, I think Cree has to be on Google, right? If Mandarin can be on Google, so does Cree. They have the right to be on Google. If French can be on,
right,
so forth.
Simon,
right?
do you agree that Cree should be an official Canadian language along with English and French?
I most definitely do. For a lot of us, that is a fact. That is our first language. And for a lot of our grandparents, great-grandparents, they knew nothing else, because that was our official language. And for Canada to embrace and adopt and finally affirm that our Indigenous languages are here to stay, I think that will definitely provide a lot of the companies, major corporations, part of the everyday fabric of the everyday average citizen, realize that the first and people and the languages is part of the strongest fabric of this land.
Joseph, you mentioned that you reached out to Google. They told you about some of their criteria. We also reached out to them. I want to read a little bit about what they said. They said, we're gradually adding languages over time, but our system needs a lot of examples to learn from. Unfortunately, we don't have a timeline for that specific language. The process of adding a language to translate takes a big concerted effort from contributors. I want to finish off by asking Simon, how important is it to preserve language? And I understand that, as we see, through Statistics Canada over the last 10, 20 years, that the use of some of the many Indigenous languages in this country has dwindled over the last few years. So how important is it to maintain those languages, Simon?
I think it's very critical. There's nothing that says more in terms of reconciliation and being able to work with those that have already done the work. I'd like to mention that on what Google is talking about, a lot of that work has already been done through a partnership that is actually called the 21st Century Tools for Indigenous Languages. It's a partnership between the University of Alberta, First Nations University of Canada, and Carleton University that takes a look at the Cree language across, and we have already had a lot of success. I say we as a people, but I'm actually just entering into that partnership, having our own TH dialect as part of the Google-like search engine that we have called Ituiwina. And that's the one thing that I think Google is missing, is there's an incredible amount of work that has already been done. And we're asking that Google take a serious look at the work and the progress that's already been done. Of course, this partnership has been, of course, funded by the Social Sciences and Humanitarian Research Council already. So,
so the work is there, and it just needs to be connected. All right.
Yes.
Simon Bird, Joseph John, good luck with your petition. Thanks so much for joining us here on Canada Tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.